Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to my Wild Hunter. This is a character that has been sitting around on my account at level 200 for the longest time, and over the last couple of days I've decided that this is going to be the character that I will pivot all my effort into to becoming my main. As you guys might know, I have been working on a lot of different characters. I have my Cannon Master over in Chronos, I have my Battle Mage I'm sort of working on here in Hyperion, and most recently I've been working on my Xenon. And for a lot of you guys it might be a little surprising that I've decided to pivot over onto Wild Hunter, because my Xenon is getting pretty strong, it's getting a lot of gains, but at the end of the day, the Xenon was only originally meant to be a really strong bossing mule, and what I found with Xenon is that the class is quite strong, and it got really lucky, and I'm completely happy leaving it at a strong C10 mule. It can solo pretty much all the way up to hard Darknail, even though I technically haven't tried to solo Darknail just yet, but given the fact that to me that character is almost done, I wanted to pivot over onto a new character, and I have decided on this Wild Hunter. Before I go into much about what I've done on this character, I wanted to talk a little bit about why I decided to choose Wild Hunter as my main, as opposed to perhaps staying with Battle Mage or sticking with the Xenon. And honestly, it kinda came down to the fact that I really like playing classes that are unpopular. For those who have followed my channel for a while, it's no surprise that I prefer to play classes that are unpopular. Of course, most notably Jet, which unfortunately has been removed from the game. I've decided to pivot over onto a new unpopular character, and it's really exciting for me to be able to play Wild Hunter because I feel like I know very little about this class, and I feel like a lot of the MapleStory community as well don't really know much about this class, other than the fact that it gives you buffs in front of Zakum. All jokes aside though, there are a few other reasons why I decided to pivot onto this Wild Hunter. The first one is I didn't want to play the Xenon or a Battle Mage. I might end up not liking this class, in which case I would probably go back to one of those two classes, but for now I wanted to play a new Resistance character. I wasn't too interested in pushing my mechanic because of the way that it plays. I've been playing it a lot more bossing wise and also a little bit of farming, but it just didn't really feel like I enjoyed it. So I only really had the option of playing one of the two demons, Blaster, or this character here, the Wild Hunter. I have very little interest in playing Blaster because that class presses way too many buttons for me. And as for the demons, they don't really fit the aesthetic that I like to play. And for Wild Hunter, the biggest thing about this class is it is a Hurricane class, so it does kind of throw back to how I used to play on Jet. It was a Hurricane class before it got removed, and yeah, it's just a lot of different reasons, but at the end of the day, it's an unpopular class that also happens to be a Hurricane class, and I feel like this is what I want to work on. It also helps that this class shares the same cash up inventory as my Battle Mage and Xenon. That way I am actually able to move around my Vac Pet, which is very convenient for me. Hopefully that gives you guys a little bit more insight as to why I decided to swap to Wild Hunter. And now let's just have a talk about what I've done on this character so far. And some of the things that I've done on this character is a little bit strange, so hopefully you guys can bear with me. Let's first talk about the equips that I have so far. This was originally prepped as a bossing mule with the 6 set bonus that we had from the previous event in Maple Island, and this is pretty decent. I am able to get access to this beautiful 30% IAD set bonus, but I will be trying to pivot off this as soon as possible. Ideally, instead of these items, I would like to have CRA, Absolab, and then later transition over onto Arcanes, and of course replacing this secondary as well with the correct best in slot, which is I believe Pino. There's a lot of items here to replace, but there are some items that I have tried to farm. The first things, of course, are the accessories. We have a lot of accessories here. Let's start off with this Carnage Treasure. I originally wasn't going to get one of these, but I was very lucky enough to have somebody willing to carry me Pino. Originally, I thought that they were just going to carry me for the secondary pieces that I need for this class, but they were kind enough to also leave me with the Carnage Treasure. So thank you very much for that. For the secondary, I have 9 pieces, so I should have enough pieces if I get moderate luck on Pino after the reset. Looking forward to getting my actual proper secondary. Other than that, I have the Treasure John's ring, which is the ring you get from the NLC quest line. It's a very simple quest, very short, and a simple one that can be potentialed. And similarly, we have the Silver Blossom ring, which we get from Horntail. And as for the last one, currently I'm using this Maple Onyx ring. It's part of the 6 set to give us the 30% IAD. But once I can, I will be buying a different ring that will be able to be potentialed as well. Unlike my other characters, I don't actually have access to event rings on this one, so hopefully I'll be able to get some for better training gear, but for now, I have to make do with what I had. It might be a little bit of a surprise, but the last ring that I'm going for is actually one that you can get from this piece of content called Yew Garden. If we finish up all the pre-quests in this area, we'll be able to access this dailies board, and after doing some pretty straightforward tasks, you can get a bunch of these coins, and these Yew Garden coins can be traded into these merchants, which will give us access to some new items. As you can see here, this merchant here on the right gives us access to some equipment, and I believe if I change channel around, I should be able to show you guys the item that I'm going for. And here we go, after a few tries, I found it here, the Golden Flower Ring. This is going to be my last ring that I'll be using on this character. It's not particularly good by any means, it's very similar to this Treasure John's ring, but the main thing is we want rings that can be potentialed, so then we can try to start up our drop gear. Again, I don't have access to any of the event rings at the moment. Unfortunately, I didn't have the foresight to claim it on this character. I believe the ones that we got from the event here, I claimed on, I think, my mechanic, which is a little bit of a shame because that mechanic is kinda neglected at the moment. But anyway, we have basically our 4 rings sorted. As for the pendants, we have a lot of options here. I have these pendants that we got from the previous event. I also have a Mechanator and a Horntail pendant as well. Ideally, we'll be using Zacham's face and eye accessory. I just haven't got the drop yet for the face slot. I have already attempted Chaos Zacham on a stream, and unfortunately, he also did not drop me one. So I will be trying to do this every day and also trying to clear Chaos Zacham after the reset in hopes that we can get a face accessory. And for the earring, I'll probably pivot over onto this healer earring. It's a little bit better than the Horntail one, so once we get the chance to upgrade this, we will be pivoting over onto the healer earrings. So that's pretty much what I've been working on in the background, just trying to build up ways to get accessories and trying to set up my meso gear. And before I go too much further into kind of my goals with this character, I wanted to just quickly go over the fact that this Wild Hunter is level 233. Originally, it was just at level 200 for the longest time because it was just a Legion character for me. But thanks to this event, they gave us a lot of these EXP coupons. From this weekly party, we get a lot of EXP vouchers, and I've been claiming these on my Wild Hunter. And throughout the event as well, we have other things that have given us these EXP vouchers, which I just basically put onto my Wild Hunter. We also had here the Midnight Dreamcatcher Season 3, which gave us a lot of EXP as well. And after doing all of those, my Wild Hunter basically power leveled from level 200 all the way to 233. And I think the main goal here right now is I'm trying to get to level 250 as soon as possible. We will get a bunch more EXP vouchers here, but most importantly, we have access to a lot of magnificent growth potions. I believe from the Go West event as well, they gave us another 3. And I have 2 more in my storage thanks to this Angelic Buster Lucid event here. I've claimed everything already, but that adds up to 6 total magnificent growth potions that I can use. And that means I only really need to get to level 244 for me to get to level 250. Getting to level 250 is one of my first level goals because it gives us access not only to every region here in the Arcane River, but most importantly, it reduces all of my dailies down to the minimum. Each of these areas will only give me 200 mobs to kill as opposed to up to 600 in Asphera. So I'm hoping to get to level 250 as soon as possible, but again, I don't really want to train on this character until I have the Meso drop gear set up, but that'll be coming soon anyway. That's a lot of rambling about this character. Let's talk a little bit about the goals on this Wild Hunter. There's a lot of things that goes into making a main before I can really say that I pivoted over onto this Wild Hunter completely. And the first thing that we need to talk about is actually probably the gear again. I have mentioned a little bit about the accessories, but most importantly, I need to get the other items filled up. I need to get CRA started. I have cleared normal Root Abyss a few times. I just need to get 5 clears of the normal version before I can do the Chaos version. I should be able to be strong enough to do the Chaos version, and once I can, I'll have access to some pretty good items, and then that'll boost my damage a lot, so then I can try to contribute to the Lotus and Damien. With this character, I am sort of treating it the same way I did with my Xenon, where I'm giving it as many resources as I can, so I will probably be training bosses if possible. I'll see if I can even manage to get a Lotus and Damien run before the reset, but honestly, I don't think this character is strong enough. I'm currently sitting at 600k combat power, which is quite low, to be honest. And being able to do 5% in Lotus Damien, I'd rather not sit in there for 20 minutes, and I'm not going to ask anybody to do that for me. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see if we can get a Absolab item any earlier than next week, but I don't really have any expectation on it. Once we get our armors set up with Absolab and our CRA, obviously as well, we're going to try to push towards Arcanes as soon as possible. I would like to get started on Hard Lucid and Hard Will as soon as I can do damage for them, because getting the chances of getting our Arcanes early is really important. And unlike my Xenon, I won't be doing any Absolab fodders. I'll just be saving as much money and trying to improve our gear as consistently as possible, and trying to minimize the amount of work that we do on transitional gear like Absolab. I have already tried a few things on this Wild Hunter because I wanted just to have a feel for the class, and as it turns out, I do kind of enjoy the gameplay of the class. It is a lot more active than I expected when it came to bossing. There's a lot of low cooldown abilities that you have to keep pressing, but for the most part, it does play like a typical Hurricane class, which is really nice. I have cleared Chaos Zakum like I mentioned before. I also managed to clear Hard Magnus, Hard Healer, Pink Bean, and Cygnus. Our next main goal, again, is to clear Chaos Root Abyss, and then afterwards, we're going to be aiming for Lotus and Damien, just so then we can fast track our gear as soon as possible. The next thing I wanted to talk about is my node situation. I have been funding a lot of my nodes into my Xenon, but of course, if I want this character to be strong, I do need to put effort into the nodes here. And thankfully, I have had the chance to put quite a lot of them, because I do farm a lot on my Xenon, I do farm every once in a while on my Battle Mage, and we have gotten a lot of different nodes here. And I think most impressively, I already have one of my 2 trios done. Somehow, I managed to find 2 of these trios here for my Wild Hunter, which are the perfect trios. I just needed, I believe, another 2 trios, but for the most part, I'm super happy that I managed to get these 2 pretty early as well. They're my main bossing ones, and because I'm not training, these are perfect for me to try to do my weeklies, and getting them early means I can boost them as soon as possible, so then I can contribute into further bossing. I will be funneling as many nodes as I can into this character. I don't think my Xenon or my Battle Mage needs them at the moment. I'll just be trying to push these as far as I can. And yeah, as you guys can see, I have gave it a fair amount of nodes. I think I'm already about 250 nodes in on this Wild Hunter, so it's looking pretty good for me so far. For now though, I think that's all I can really talk about this Wild Hunter. There isn't really much more I can say other than that I'm trying to set up the items as best I can. I still need to do a lot of things on this character to get its gear up. I also still need to do things like Afterlands to get out totems. But the thing that I'm trying to prioritize the most that I've mentioned on this character is actually its drop meso gear. We will be getting a double miracle time this Saturday, and I do have some money saved up for this character, and ideally, after it, I will have proper drop meso gear set up, and then once we get all those gear prepared, I'll be able to actually train on this character properly while still making a decent amount of money, thanks to also my vac pet, amongst other things. And then once we get that done, we'll be able to start working on some of our more permanent gear, like our emblem here. I'm trying to go for 2 lines of attack, for example, on this emblem, but I don't want to spend too much money before the DMT. That way, we'll be able to go for our level 250 as soon as possible, and we'll be able to really start this character off as a main. But for now though, that'll be all for today. Hopefully you guys are excited about this character as much as I am, because genuinely speaking, I'm super excited to play on this Wild Hunter, and it's kind of nice being able to choose a new character that isn't so popular. That's completely the way that I like to play. Now that my Xenon is in a good spot, I don't feel so bad moving on to a new character. We'll see how long I decide to stick onto this Wild Hunter. Hopefully I enjoy it as much as I think I will, and I hope that you guys do as well. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys have enjoyed these videos so far, please consider giving the videos a like. It helps me out a lot. And if you guys want to keep up with my new main here, my Wild Hunter, please consider subscribing to the channel. Take care guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.